got it good. All right, what's up, everybody? All right, so we working on part two tonight, y'all. Working on part two tonight. Tonight, pretty much is part two of Echoes of Being, how the soul's experience resonates in self judgment. So, pretty much the question is this: why does the body judges itself for the soul's experience? Like, why is our body judging itself based on the soul's experience? Now, if you guys have been following our YouTube channel and also if you guys have been following our TikTok channel, any social media platform, you guys know that we speak about the soul, which is that of our body within the simulation, which we experience the five senses. And we know that the body is actually the God body that we are, that is pretty much possessing the soul, so that the soul can function with life, because we are the life that we give this soul of ours. The body is life. The body is life. So pretty much this is the mind, body, and soul experience, in other words, which are, like I said, our body is pretty much the bread, right? The bread. This is the body that was given to us by Christ. So we come as God into this soul to give this soul life. When we give this soul life, this soul gives us the experience of five senses in a lower dimensional reality called Earth. In this Earth, we begin to experience the five senses, what it means to taste, what it means to touch, what it means to see, hear, what it means to smell. Like, we begin to live by these experiences. Now, in living by those experiences, we find ourselves getting a little bit too attached to where it becomes painfully uncomfortable to let go of the five senses reality that we have experienced in this soul, to be able to ascend to a newer thinking within ourselves. And so we're pretty much now going over, in other words, last week we talked about why does the body judge itself according to the soul's experience. And we went and talked about 6 points of why the body judges itself. Now, today, part two, we're going to ask a different question. How does the body judge itself according to the soul's experience? One thing we want to remember is this. It's one thing to have knowledge and know exactly who you are, what this is all about, and the whole nine. But then there is another thing to have wisdom. Wisdom is having the experience to be able to assess the knowledge that you have as God. And we know that God is all-knowing. We know that God is all-powerful. We know that God is everywhere simultaneously. In other words, God is multidimensional. Multidimensional, in other words, just means the ability to exist in different thinking simultaneously. So, Quentin, what in the world is that? Like, all right, you gotta give me an example of like different ways of thinking multidimensionally. Yeah, it sounds like out there, but listen, let me try to explain this in the best way possible. Y'all gotta excuse me, like I did a lot of like walking today. Me and my wife, we went downtown and was just actually able to just walk and just, it was one of my first times actually since I've literally lived in the Cleveland area, yo. Like literally just walking downtown. Never really walked in my own city like that. So we just got a chance to spend some time out and about, just loving on people and also allowing ourselves to be loved on as well. So amazing day, honestly. So, but outside of that, yo, when it comes to how the body judges itself according to the soul's experience and us figuring out the purpose for knowledge and wisdom and what's the difference. Again, knowledge is important to have because knowledge can save you. But wisdom is important to gain because experience can guide you into the next age. Because essentially, you want to know exactly how to navigate through things. You want to know how to how it feels to navigate through certain things. Like, for example, some people may learn the hard way. The hard way is just I don't really care to apply the knowledge. I want to get the experience. It's like you can know 2 plus 2 is 4. You can just know the answer. But how to get the answer is going to take wisdom. It's going to take you actually having to solve something, meaning you're going to have to experience something. So breaking down the third dimensional or multi-dimensional thinkings is like this. Third dimensional relationships, or let's just say communication. When we come out the womb, we're taught what? Our native language. Depending on whatever your native is, you're taught that language. So if you're born in Spain, you're taught Spanish. If you're born in America, 9 times out of 10, you're taught English. If you're born in Russia, 9 times out of 10, you're taught Russian language. So these are the things that we are actually taught in the third dimensional language. My English language helps you to be able to do what? Hear and understand me, right? So what is that? Hearing is a part of the what senses? The 5 senses. The 5 senses are directly attributed to the third dimensional soul's experience. So as long as I can talk to you in English or my native language that you understand too, we are communicating in the third dimensional thinking, in a third dimensional human soul experience. So that is a definition or an example of third dimension reality. Us being able to communicate using our English words to one another because it relates to our hearing senses and also being able to speak. So now that we got that part, what is a different dimension when it comes to communication? A different dimension when it comes to communication is light language. It's light language. What is light language? Light language, in other words, is when you first came out of the womb, when you were trying to use your words, right? You didn't know English, you didn't know Spanish, you didn't know Russian. What you knew is the way that you were communicating just naturally. That was your light language. What did that light language sound like? Kuka kaka kuka, like that. Like that's how you was talking, like as a baby. But that's our light language. When we mature, that light language also matures as well. From goo goo gaga to marotoshia, that is a different dimension of communication. That will be more so fifth dimensional communication. Because that is God actually speaking. That is you actually speaking out your light language. Remember, God is all things and all things are one. Where oneness takes place is in the fifth dimension. So that is a different dimension of communication. A different way of communication. Now, another way of communication that is completely different as well is also telepathy. Telepathy is another form of communication. It is also in a higher vibrational way of communicating. Fourth dimensional can be telepathic communication. But also fifth dimensional communication as well. But they're both still higher communication than that of third dimensional communication when we're using our English language towards one another. So yeah, I don't the phlegm, yo, it's just wild. But that is pretty much our way of being able to decipher the ways that we communicate dimensionally. So now that we got that part out of the way, now we can hop into how does the body judge itself according to the soul's experience, because it's important, because now we're going to break down third dimensional ways where the body judges itself according to the soul's experience, because we now know that there are different dimensional ways that the body can judge itself. The God that you are can judge itself according to the soul's experience. So really quick recap. We went over in the sense of why does the body judge itself according to the soul's experience. Number one was it's in a state of amnesia, being unaware that it is in a soul's experience called life. Number two, forgetting that this life is not about just experiences, but experiencing the choices that we give ourselves to be the light of who we are or in the shadow of who we are. Whether we know or whether we don't know, we're still going to experience ourselves, nevertheless. Number three, by not aligning to its higher source of consciousness. Sometimes we just don't align ourselves to that of which is our higher self as God. Number four, living by the means of someone else's conceptual control. We create our realities, guys. The one who does not create their reality lives in others. We create and we co-create. We always create and co-create. We need to find out what our highest passion is and what we resonate with the most. And once we find out our highest passion and what we resonate the most, we'll find ourselves either creating or co-creating with one another, as one another. Living more, number five, living more in the mind rather than the heart. Activating the heaven of our hearts, the higher heart. The way that we know that we live in our hearts more than our minds because we have a foundation of oneness. The more we live in our mind than our heart, we have a foundation of separatism. In the mind, we can live as two, depending on harmony, but we need balance for that. In the heart, we live as one. But to find balance in the world, to live in a harmonious state as one another, with one another, being God, being one God, living in multiple avatars or souls or God technology, we need harmony. So both are important, but you don't want to live in the head more than you live in the heart. Because harmony don't sound good when two voices aren't balanced, aren't one. Number six, forgetting that forgetting that you exist outside of this third dimensional experience. When we don't remember that we exist outside of the third dimensional experience, then it get a little bit tricky from there. Because God is multidimensional, he exists everywhere simultaneously. She exists everywhere simultaneously. So once God remembers that they exist multidimensionally, then they won't spend too much time in a state or a space where they are likely to judge themselves according to the third dimensional senses. So how does the body now judge itself according to the soul's experience? Number one, through false doctrines. Yes, through false doctrines. This may be like a fun one because we it's almost like we all come into false doctrines. Now, I would say this, what I've seen with my own two eyes is those that come into this reality rich, for the most part, don't come into this reality with needing religion to find themselves. It's like you come into religion needing, right? But when you come into the world already having money, it's kind of like you really don't need religion whatsoever because you are living from a space of sufficiency already. As crazy as it sounds, man, listen, if most of us was born rich, we probably wouldn't have never tasted religion. Because we would have found ourselves being too occupied with life already. Let me ask you a question in the chat, Queen Shining. Do you think if you were born rich, into a rich family, you would have ever went to church? Yeah, so being, in a sense, in the body and ways where we can judge ourselves and how we have over these decades and ages is through false doctrines. We have allowed ourselves to believe in a concept because we want to feel secure. We would love to feel secure within ourselves. So we allow ourselves to be parented and governed by a theology or ideology, something other than ourselves, to feel that security. We allow ourselves to submit to an authority that's not higher than us, but we make it higher than ourselves. We allow ourselves to submit to this authority due to gaining security or whether popular or cultural relevance. Sometimes it's a hard thing to face ourselves, be vulnerable enough to be alone. Some of us don't like being alone. So we want to be culturally relevant and culturally around people because we love socialism. But we only love it to the point to where it doesn't make us feel bored. We don't want to feel bored. We want to feel like we're loved. We want to feel like we're needed in society because we have this itch. We have this need to want to feel relevant. So by any means necessary, we'll put ourselves under the governing of something outside of ourselves to rule us, to fix and scratch the itch that we may have, or that burning sensation of needing to feel pleased by other people, places, or things. So, number one, again, how does the body judge itself according to the soul's experience? Through false doctrine, the body judges itself through unrighteousness. Those are unrighteous characteristics that we judge ourselves. We judge ourselves bored. We judge ourselves hopeless. We judge ourselves lonely. And so when we do this to ourselves, we put ourselves under the governance of fear, in other words, even at the cost of our soul's experience. That stuff that we're learning in religion is coming into our minds. And if we're not mature enough to be able to transmute and hear what they're actually saying in these Bibles, not what they're saying out of their mouth trying to interpret the Bible, but if we can't decode the Bible ourselves, there's no reason to pick it up quite yet. There's not a necessity to have to pick it up at all. You have Christ within inside of you. You don't actually need to take the Bible and grind it up into a juicer and drink it. You don't need to do that because that's not the living water. Number two, how does the body judge itself according to the soul's experience? Number two, running from your emotions. Now, this is how the body really judges itself when we run from our emotions. Is when we start to deflect. When we start to deflect. One of the ways we start to deflect is through defending ourselves. We've all heard of the notion this person may have built a wall to protect their emotional state, right? So if you ever built a wall, in short, what's the reason why, you put in the chat, what is the reason why you built the wall? I want you to put it in the comments. What was one reason why you built the wall? And what was that wall protecting you from? Running from our emotions is pretty much running from life itself. It's running from life itself. It's running from the experience of life itself. It's running from creation itself and your ability to experience yourself. One of the things that I learned is in this reality that I'm living in, that knowing that I am love, I am light, I am God. I'm not just love, I'm not just light, and I'm not just God, but I'm also my shadow. And I was leaving my shadow out of this joint, y'all, because I ain't think that darkness was something that we were supposed to connect with. I'm like, yo, darkness, flee from me, you midnight shadow. Like, I didn't know what else to say than do with darkness. It just was like, bro, you ain't, listen, it's for the crowd. Yeah, I wish we would have known that we would have got an extra seat. We just didn't. Sorry, all out of ticket. You know, like, it wasn't darkness. Was like, hey, yeah, I'm not. We don't really like. I don't eat at the table with sinners. Like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I just don't know how else to say it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're all light brown over here. That's the dark table over there. You know, we don't drink from that fountain. So that's how I was treating my shadow, literally, like. But my shadow was the thinking of my own projections that I preferred not to experience because I was unaware of myself. So therefore, I was afraid of myself. So being afraid, when you're afraid of yourself, you're running from yourself. The self that you become is through your thinking. The thinking that you become is what you know. What you know is what you ultimately will think. what you think is going to produce an emotion, and that emotion or that thought is going to produce an action. Because guess what? A root will always produce a tree, which because a seed will always produce a root. So when that seed gets planted, that thought opens up and start rooting itself into the mind of God. When the root takes root into the mind of God, it starts to sprout up and produce fruit. Now, once you start producing fruit, if you don't like the fruit, then that means you got to do what? Do you got to change the fruit or you got to change the root? We at times try to change the fruit and we can't do it. So guess what? We take that fruit off and be like, man, that ain't no oranges supposed to be growing on this tree. This is an apple tree. But we taking all the oranges off every time we see them. But every time we take them oranges off, it's like more just keep popping up. And it's just like, oh my God, bro, I just keep plucking oranges down. They taste good, but they ain't supposed to be coming from this tree. I'm getting tired of it because it's looking very weird that this is an apple tree, but it's producing the wrong fruit. I don't know what to do. Like, this is how we get. And so because we get into this space of, dude, I don't know, bro. I try. I'm gone, bro. I'm not. This is weird. This is crazy. This is some Freddy Krueger stuff, bro. Like, I'm out of here. Cause, bro, this is trippy. I don't know what to do here. I'm lost in a sense. So now we're running from our emotions. The emotions is literally the only way that you will be able to find the root issue. Because if you don't follow the road of your emotions to the thought, you will never run into the root. The seed gets planted into the subconscious and then it takes root. And then those roots start to attract energy that's going to give you an emotional experience. But if you just reverse everything and you go within and you follow those emotions back to where they originated from, you're going to run right into the root. Not the fruit, the root. The fruit is what you are expressing, your actions. You're not ever going to change your actions until you find the root and be able to change your mind. When you find the root, you can speak to those roots and say, oh, hey, root, by the way, I don't know if you knew that you were producing oranges, but you were an apple tree. Yeah, when we planted you, you were an apple seed, but we knew you were an apple tree. Maybe somewhere along the line of you taking sprout, or maybe before you actually sprouted, maybe you kind of like forgot who you were when you were in this mess, in this dirt, in this darkness, before you rose up out of it and you experienced the light of all life. Maybe you forgot who you were before you died and opened up. But listen, now that you've died and opened up and you started producing different fruit, we're just here to remind you that you're not an orange tree. You are an apple. Yep, you are an apple tree. I know. It's going to be okay. Those oranges is going to fall off soon. You don't got to try to be in a rush to get the process. Look, we ain't shaming you, blaming you, or taming you because you ain't in no type of trouble. We ain't trying to, we ain't going to burn you down. We ain't going to burn the stakes. We're not. We're just going to continue to allow those oranges to fall off you. And as those oranges fall off you, then you're going to start producing the right type of fruit. Don't worry. And even if you produce another orange here and there, we know it's going to take continually to remind you who you are as an apple. You're an apple tree. So just don't worry. Don't try to do apple tree. Be apple tree. Allow yourself to be reminded. Okay? We remind. We don't redo. We remind. Yeah, okay. So no more, you don't ever have to run from your emotions. You follow that narrow road right to the root of yourself. And you re-identify with who you truly are as love. Because the way that everybody normally takes is the broad way, which leads to the fruit. Number 3, how does the body judge itself according to the soul's experience? Number 3, through self-sabotaging thoughts. Now, y'all, listen to me. Self-sabotaging thoughts is literally like how we can screw up everything. Like, seriously, like, the reason why self-sabotaging thoughts is a way where we can see how the body, remember, the body is not this. This is the craziest thing you're going to ever hear, but it ain't probably the craziest thing you ever probably heard. Yeah, we are, in a sense, in a game, if you will. Almost as if this game is like one big play. But essentially, it's still a game because it's a simulation. The reason why it's a simulation, because I'm going to use something that all of us have been able to see and do ourselves. We just didn't know that this was that. You walk into a room, you sit there for a minute, you scope the room out, everybody's in the room, you already vibing with everybody. Someone else walks into the room, you instantly, you like, oh, in your gut, like, I ain't really feeling this person's vibe like that. How are you able to feel that? Huh? Like, what's happening? Because that ain't none of the five senses. That ain't taste, see, touch. That ain't none of them five senses. So how are you able to do that? That sounds like intuition to me. That sounds like some telepathy to me. That sounds like you're picking up on someone's energy to me. The only way you can pick up someone's energy is if we're electromagnetic technology, God technology, conscious energy. Everything being connected as one. The reason why I can feel you because I am you. Oh, you know what? How about this? Have you ever been walking and standing there for so long when you finally got home, even though we wanted to take a shower and we just wanted to get off these clothes and get off, shower and get all of that day off of us and just finally lay down? Now let's fast forward. We got home, we got under all these clothes off, we showered, we dried off, we got our little whatever on, our chill clothes on, and now we right before we get into our bed and we hop in that joint and just lay flat on our back and take a deep breath and say, finally. Like before we do all of that, we can already feel the emotional experience before it already take place. That's why we desire to actually do it, because we know how it's gonna feel before we do it. What else that sound like? That sound like foretelling. That sound like creating your reality's experience before it even take place, only because you remember how it feels and how it makes you feel. So because you know the feeling is always attached to the what? The thought. Remember, when the seed is planted, it takes root. The root expresses and it produces the emotional experience that you get to have. But guess what you remember? You don't remember what somebody told you. You remember how they made you what? Feel. The same thing with places, people, and things. You don't remember what it was. You always remember how it what? Made you feel. When we talk about a job, we be like, man, I don't talk about that job, bro. I can't stand that job. Or please don't bring her up. I can't stand her. Why you can't stand her? Not because of who she is, because of how she made what? You feel. Feeling is an energy. Feeling is energetic. It's an energy that is emotion. That means what? We are a soul that is technology used and possessed by God as God. So that means we are not in the actual real life. We are in a simulation. That is why we can foretell something and feel something before it takes place. And then when it takes place, that is actually the confirmation of what we already created for ourselves to experience based on our highest excitement. So yeah. But the self-sabotaging thoughts come in when we forget all of that. And we just like, oh my gosh, I'm mostly on my way home right now. What I want to do right now is take off these clothes, shower, and lay right in the bed, and I can just feel it now. But them kids, these kids, man. See, these kids ain't gonna let me sleep. These kids ain't gonna let me shower. They gonna be noisy. As soon as I get into the bed, I'm gonna try to take a quick nap, but they gonna be knocking on my door, asking me for this, asking me for that. I'm just not gonna be able to ever get no rest. And these are self-sabotaging thoughts, because the first thing that normally comes to you when you are experiencing the heaven of your own mind is hell. Hell rises up like a phoenix in the night and starts to knock on the door and say, hey, don't forget about me, your old friend, hiding its finger over the peephole so that you can't see who it is. And then you say, oh, let me go open up the door because I'm just so bored and I'm lonely. I need a friend. Who is it? Never mind. You don't need to know because I'm going to open up the door anyway. And then Fear says, yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here now. Close the door. You going to let me hear. Where's the refrigerator at? I'm hungry. Like, that is fear. So now you in the house with fear and y'all chopping it. And instead of you knowing who you are in the face of fear, you're like, I'm running from fear. I'm running up the stairs because it's dark and I don't want nothing to get me or grab the back of my ankles and trip or anything like that. So I'm running to my room and I'm slamming the door, close the door, and then I'm gonna turn off the lights and then I'm gonna get under the cover because I'm afraid of dark. That's what we do. Because we self-sabotage ourselves by having to think like hell, because that's what we were so accustomed to being able to think, because we were so stuck in a third dimensional way of doing things that we only used to actually experiencing hell. We ain't really used to experiencing heaven. And that's the problem. That's the problem, because we are God as an answer and we forget this stuff. When we forget that we are the answer, we become our own problem and begin to self-sabotage ourselves. Well, this hurt, bro. It hurt. That's why I can't get off of it, because it hurt. If it didn't hurt, I wouldn't sabotage myself with it. I promise you. Like, seriously, like, bro, my mom told me to go get switches from this bush. I gotta walk past this bush every day when I go to school. In my mind, when I walk past this bush, the first thing I'm thinking of was, dude, I picked you just last week and my mom got me with you. I can't wait for the summer to come here. I hope you burn. That's what we be thinking. Because every time we pass a familiar situation, if it hurt us, that's the same exact thing we gotta face. If we don't face it and we continue to run, we're gonna use that fear to self-sabotage ourselves. We just gotta face it. And we gotta accept the reality that it is. You were only this reality because I gave you power to exist as it. If not, then it never would have existed. How does the body, as God that lives inside this soul, judge itself according to the soul's experience? Number 4, perceiving thyself separate from all within the experience of life. This simulation is the experience of life. How you judge it is the experience. The simulation is the life. So if you in this life, yo, and you looking at Sally, and Sally over there looking like a snack, because all you can see is the snackalicious babe right across the street on a sunny day, 87 degrees, and she got a tank top, you know what I'm saying? She got a sundress on. She got a sundress on. She got the little fan with the little spray. She can spray the water and the mist is hitting her and it's all hitting the chest and she look all sticky-fied. The hair looking all frizzy, but it's blonde because it's straight down. And she got brown hazel eyes and she got dimples and she looking at you, you looking at her and she looking at you, you looking, and then she's smiling and you smiling back at her. And now both of y'all is happy. And I ain't even talking about her yet. I'm just talking about you, nasty. So now both of y'all just happy and you can't get past Sally Sue's soul. Because maybe we're stuck in a chakra system that can't get past the idea of lust. Or maybe we see Johnny. We see Johnny. Oh, I promise you, next time I told you, bro, next time I saw Johnny, it was on sight. What you mean? What Johnny do to you? Bro, I told you, bro. I told you what he did, right? I told you what he did, bro. He spit in my lunch milk. Yo, lunch milk? Yeah, he spit in my lunch milk, man. Bro, you 48 years old. What do you mean lunch milk? Well, I'm saying, bro. All right. I was in summer school. I was in the 6th grade. But what I'm saying is this: I saw him spit in it. I ain't think he really spit in it. But when I drank it, it was a hockey Louie in there, bro. And I swallowed it. And so I told him, because he ran. I told him when I see him, it's on sight. I'm seeing him right now. I can't lie, bro. But you 48. You was what, like 11 when that happened? I'm saying, bro, ain't it the principles? The principles, bro. You said that was summer school you went to too? Yeah, bro, you gonna have to let that go, bro. You gonna have to let that one go, man. You gonna have to perceive yourself a little differently, man. Because listen, if you can't see God when you see Johnny, but you only see God when you see you, do you really see God when you see you? Well, I mean, well, yeah, I do. I mean, you can't. How? When you're supposed to love your neighbor like you love yourself, the only way you can love your neighbor is loving yourself. But if you can't see you correctly, how you gonna see your neighbor correctly? And you want to throw hands. If you want to throw hands with your neighbor, who you think you want to throw them with first? If you're supposed to love your neighbor like you love yourself. Well, shoot, bro, I ain't know you. Why you ain't tell me that when I was 11, bro? You 48 years old. I thought you already knew this, man. You talking about principles? Come on, man. You got to perceive differently. You got to see yourself differently. And you got to see all things differently. If you God, then God is all things. God ain't just Johnny, God's Sally too, but you got to look past this soul's experience so that you can see something greater than what's causing you to be so like led by your strong desires that really ain't letting you experience true peace and true joy and love, yo. It's only giving you temporary feelings, but it's not giving you true depth of heaven within yourself. It's okay to experience earth, man, but it ain't okay to forget that you're heaven doing it. So it's going to be important to perceive yourself together and connected and not separate. So please perceive yourself not separate from all creation, but connected. Because if you perceive yourself separate, then you're going to deal with some attachment issues that you might be in denial about. But this is how the body judges itself through the soul's experience. It's through separatism, perceiving ourselves separate from all things, not knowing that it's connected as all things. How does the body judge itself according to the soul's experience? Number 5, not facing your deepest fears. Oh, man. This is probably the one. The one. Hello? What's your favorite scary movie? Uh-oh. Click. No, just answer the question, yo. Just answer the question. Face your fears. Because we watched those movies before, right? What's going to happen when you answer the phone and when they say, what's your favorite scary movie? And you hang up. What's going to happen? They're going to do what? I said, what's your favorite scary movie? Like, they going to call again, yo. You just got to answer the question. We ain't saying you got to have a scary movie. All we saying is just answer. We just saying face them. That's it. Bro, I don't know where you at. You probably in the house somewhere by now, calling me from your cell phone. And it's a burner, it's a flip phone. Obviously, it's a black one, whatever the case may be. If you're not in the house already, you probably looking through a window right now. Or if you're not looking through a window, my silly self probably left the door unlocked. You know how we do. We always either leave the door unlocked or leave the window wide open or the patio door open. Something happened, bro, because you couldn't look at me. I'm going to do something that's silly that let you in here to kill me. So, bro, why waste your time? Just come on in here with the knife. It's probably going to be one of the ones I was using earlier. Come on in here, bro. Just come on. Let's face each other. Let's get this over with. Click. That's how you face your fears, yo. I'm telling you. That's how you face them. Because when you face your fear, like, now listen. Your fear ain't actually the guy that's coming to kill you, per se. That's not really your fear. Fear is, in a sense, here to help you lay down your life. Your life is the ego that thinks that it is living outside of being God. Well, I'm human, yo. I'm only human. Don't put too much pressure on me to be God. I'm not God, I'm human. Gosh. That's ego. That is ego. Please don't come to me with that God stuff, bro. I ain't with that God stuff, man. I ain't really trying to hear none of that stuff, man. I ain't God. I ain't love. I ain't none of that stuff. Wait, I ain't what? Well, I ain't God. The love part, I can do that. But don't call me God, bro. I can be love, but I can't be God. Well, God is love and love is God. So how you can't be love? How you gonna be love but not God? Well, it's just God, bro. That just, come on, because God is here and I'm here, bro. Like, come on, bro. Bro. The very thing that scares us the most is the very thing that's telling us we need to challenge ourselves with and by. Like, if it scared me to take on that notion that I was God when I first found out that I was God, because the first thing I knew that I was gonna have to do was accept the fact that if I'm God, bro, I'm the devil. Well, now you taking this one too far, bro. I was rocking with you at first when you was like, I'm God. But now you saying I'm the devil, bro? How am I the devil? You gonna have to break this one down to me, yo. How am I the devil? Because listen, if I'm the devil, bro, you mean to tell me I'm causing all of this hell in my life? Oh, dude. We should have led with that one then. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Every bit of hell you have experienced, dude, guess what? What? It ain't only been by you. It's been as you. Listen, every bit of hell you've experienced in this age of yours has been nothing remotely but you. Yes, every single silver rot of you has been the hell you've been experiencing. And the cool part is, you can stop at any given time experiencing hell when you change you through Christ. Yes, you gotta let that mind be in you that was in Christ, because if you don't, you gonna go through hell. You gonna go through hell. But you ain't a bad person for going through hell, because guess what? If I project you as a bad person, I'm only projecting myself to be able to project you as the bad person, because I got to be creative enough to be bad enough to create you to be bad with me. It's a mirrorverse. We all reflect one another from our own perspectives. It starts with you though, because how you see you is how you gonna be perceived when it comes to the life that is given to you by you. You always gonna get how you feel. You always gonna get how you think about yourself. You're gonna always get you. So it's best to put yourself in a good space of knowing that I am God. That's it. Regardless of whatever your deepest fear may be, if you don't embrace your deepest fear and face it and you run from it, the more you resist, the more it persists. It's going to persist if you keep running from fear. Fear ain't the enemy here, y'all. It's the one who's running from it. Fear is the one that you don't know that is you, really. It's a shadow that's coming to you, and it's a surprise. It got a big question mark on it. It's the Joker. It has a big question mark on it, but it's pitch black. It's a shadow, and it's a shadow figure in your house, and you like, what the freak? I just saw a shadow, bro. Let me call this. I'm telling you, hey, bro, I literally just saw a shadow over. Can you come over here? Wait, what? I just got up, bro. What's up? Bro, I just saw a shadow in my room, bro. A shadow in your room. I'm not capping, bro. It literally is like my height, literally my body size. And it's literally just walking around in my room right now, bro. Can you come over here? Bro, I don't even want to come over there for you. I'm about to come over there for you, your shadow. No, bro, no, I'm not coming up. Bro, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Deal with your shadows, bro. Click. Dang, man, what do I got friends for if they can't even come over here and help me with my shadows? Let me turn the light on. Oh, there it is. Let me turn this light back off. You stay in the dark. No, I ain't dealing with you today. Get my cover. And we just run from our fear. We run from the very fear that we think is supposed to kill us or scare us or whatever the case may be. But if we turn that light on and we go and face that fear and we turn that fear around and we say, hey, obviously I can see that you're a shadow, but why the question mark? Like, can I touch you to see if you're real? Oh, you are real. Like, wait, is this like why does this seem like a sheet? Is this like a sheet, not a real like thing? It's just a black sheet with a question mark. How about we just take off this sheet? Let's get off this sheet. Oh, wow, wait. So So you're actually me? Why am I wearing a black sheet with a question mark? Another thing, why was I afraid of myself? But dude, why were you here wearing a sheet? Well, I was unknown to you, and the only way that I can come in peace is if you receive me that way. But you have to come into a different level of peace to receive me as the peace of yourself. Remember, you can't receive what you have yet given to yourself. If you have not given yourself the peace, you can't receive the other piece of yourself. I will always remain a question mark until you come into the answer of yourself. And I will always remain a shadow until you come into the light of yourself. But I'm here and I've always been here, just waiting on you to receive me because I come in peace. I just need you to receive me as peace by first becoming it yourself. Well, shoot. Oh, I'm glad you told me because now, dude, I can't tell you how many shadows is in that closet. Right over there, yep. Mm-hmm. Them things was never coming out. I'm telling you, they've been in there for at least 14 years. I ain't even gonna hold you. I don't know why they've been following me every time I move. I told them I wasn't never letting them out. But I guess family reunion on 3, right? Because it's got a lot of sheets in there. I'm just glad they ain't cone-shaped. So, now, after we done faced our deepest fears, what is one more point of how the body judges itself according to the soul's experience? Because listen, y'all, we facing our fears at this point. It's no point to keep running when it's you that you're running from. It's no point to keep running. Number 6, putting expectations on yourself to do love instead of be love. Now, when we got here, y'all, when we came out this room, y'all, we were in need and we were in search for what? Love. When we got in our first, how many, put your hand up in the chat. Give me an up hand emoji, like, if you remember your first boyfriend or girlfriend. If you remember your first crush or your first boyfriend or girlfriend, give me like a hands up in the chat, yo. And if it was a great experience that you can remember, or if it was not such a great experience, give me a thumbs up if it was great or thumbs down if it wasn't great. I remember my first relationship, man. And the reason why I remember it because it hurt me. Because I had this super crush on this girl in the 3rd grade. Her name, I won't say it, but I had a super crush on her. And the crazy part, like I said, I remember her whole name. And I'm telling you, like, I had the biggest, like, I was in love, yo. And I knew I was in love because every time I saw this girl, I had butterflies. I'm telling you, butterflies. And dude, I asked her out on Valentine's Day. I bought her some Valentine's Day stuff and she accepted it. I used to walk her home. Bro, she even stood in front of me. You know, when I walked her home after she had like messed up her ankle or whatever the case may be. I walked her home. It was so poetic. It was so like poetic. We were walking in the rain. It was that light rain. Like, you know, the movie setting rain. And as soon as we got to her house, she turned and faced me. I turned and faced her, and she was just like, well, this is my house. I'm like, oh, this is your house. I said something else. That was just ridiculous. And then I'm looking at her, and she's just looking at me. And then I'm looking at the steps like, well, see you tomorrow. And she just looked at me like, okay, well, all right. Well, see you, Quentin. All right. And I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? Kiss her. Why you ain't kiss? This is the part where you kiss her. It's raining on purpose for you to kiss her. Like, bro, what are you doing? Isn't this the one that you want? Like, why are you just like, why? And she, as I'm watching her literally just walk into the house, and the where it could have been like a love story, the best love story, one of the best love stories at that age, dude, it was just like, bro, you just gonna let her walk in the house? And she's opening up the door now, bro. Look, she's literally closing the door. You're still not saying nothing. And then she closed the door, and now it's still raining on you. And now it could have been a romantic scene, one of the best romantic scenes. Now it's a sad movie, dude. What are you doing? what are you doing, Quentin? I was just like, oh no, why do I feel so alone? And then literally right after that, like, I want to say, like, I think that was a Friday. I want to say I didn't end up going to school till maybe like Wednesday. Some dude got transferred there, yo. And I mean, he was already there for maybe like a month before Valentine's Day. And we were cool. We were tight. And next thing I know, bro, them 2 days off, brother, what a friend would do to you when you're gone. See, the girl I could have kissed, she had a best friend. And I had a friend, which is the guy. And they were talking, and I was talking to, so it was like a best friend type thing. Come to find out, this dude was liking the one I liked. I ain't like the one he liked, because that wasn't my type. Nothing bad with her or anything like that. It just wasn't my type. And next thing you know, I saw her wink at him one day, bro, on the steps, and I saw him looking back at her and smiling. I saw it, and it just crushed me something good, bro. Like, it crushed me. And so from there, bro, like, it was another point in time where I really got hurt. But that one, honestly, that may have topped the cake. I was sick, bro. I was third grade love sick, bro. Like, for real. And from there, I was just like, dude, I'm done, bro. I ain't even know how to be friends with this dude no more. I was, and now, and you got like 4 more months left of school, and I had to endure that 4 months straight of just like, bro, how dare you betray me, bro? How dare you? And that really like crushed me. From there, when it came to relationships, I put expectations on any girl that I was with to not ever be cool with any of my friends, because I just felt like that was always going to happen. And it was unfair. Not only just putting expectations on, people, but I was putting them on myself, because it was just kind of like, yo, you know what? I'm never going to do this. I'm never going to be that friend that did that to some. I put that expectation on myself because of hurt. But then when I put that expectation on myself from hurt, I became that friend too. I did. I definitely became that friend, because it was like, yo, I put that expectation on myself. And like, sometimes when you have friends, y'all, and listen, this is how my mind was years ago, y'all, years ago. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm gonna be very vulnerable. But back in the days, like, man, I had my taste, and my friends had their taste. Now, I ain't gonna hold you. I liked my taste, but when I start seeing their taste, I was just like, ooh, I like y'all taste. I ain't gonna hold you. Y'all taste a little bit more smoother than mine. I ain't gonna listen. And so my taste started to develop, and I became more consciously aware of what I would actually like, because I was set on it, if you will. And so, yeah, it was just kind of like, yo, man, I really don't, I don't got the same taste buds that I used to have now. Now I got some uppity taste buds, and now these taste buds, you know what I'm saying, kind of got more of what I feel, more of what I like. But because I was still hurting from all of the past trauma that I went through and never actually healed, man, I was still putting expectations on myself. So I'm still with my taste, and I'm seeing my friends' taste, and I'm looking at theirs like, I ain't gonna hold you. I'm eating fish sticks, and brother, you eating red snapper. Man, that smell good. Like that. Jeez, and it's still flipping and flopping in the grease. Woo-wee! Man, that thing fried, died, and laid to the side. And that was my thinking. And it was just like, bro, snap out of it. That's not who you are. You said you'll never be that type of friend. Ever, ever, ever. And then that's when it was just like, I'm putting this expectation that I honestly can't even hold myself, y'all. Because it was like my mind was already in a third dimensional way of seeing things. And then I'm putting expectation on myself. So, if I'm putting them on me, what I'm going to do next when it's love your neighbor as you love yourself? If I'm putting them on me, I'm putting them on someone else. So if I wouldn't portray me like that, you bet not ever portray me. But I'm still portraying me, because I'm still doing the very thing that I don't want to do myself. But don't you dare do me like that. And that's how we do things. Like, even when I got married, I'm like, yo, I can't wait to get married, because, bro, I'm in the church thing. And, when we have sex, me and my wife, we having sex. I'm like, dude, it's fun when you're doing it when it's wrong. But when we get married and we get to do it right, we going to do it all day and all night. I want yes, sir. Yes, Master. Yes, the Lord. When I tell you it's time for that time. And I went into that expectation real heavy and got married, and it was just like, yeah, let's go ahead and nip this expectation in the bud because that ain't happening. I was so depressed and so angry at myself for just like, I waited and I waited and I waited for all of this to just end like this. And it's just like, no, this is not about to happen, bro. I waited 2 days and you said if I can wait, no, 2 weeks before we got married, and I said, I'll wait. You said I wait 2 weeks and I can get it whenever I want. I want it right now, bro. Give me what you owe me. And it was an expectation because we fighting now, we clashing, and we're at war with each other because my expectation. I put one on myself to wait, and it really wasn't even waiting out of love. It was just waiting out of straight lust. Like, all right, listen, I'll suffer long to enjoy this heaven everlastingly. Like that's how it was, but when we put expectations on ourselves, we put them on others. When we put them on others, we're not living in love, we're living in fear because we put an expectation on you to be here in the hopes that you don't fall and then upset us. And now we have to punish you according to the expectation we put on you. If we put an expectation on you here, then this is where your punishment is going to be for us. All right, it wasn't a high expectation. So I ain't gonna ignore you, but I ain't gonna listen to you. All right. But if it's here, oh, bro, don't even, bro. You think I care that your Aunt Sally passed away? Huh? Huh? As quiet as it's kept, and I is finally quiet. You know, like that's what we do. Like we put expectations on people, man, because we put them on ourselves, and it's not the way to go about it when it comes to us being God. Because as long as we are God within His soul, we have an opportunity to experience selfless love by loving ourselves first. The only way we can give selfless love is through first loving ourselves. The way we get selfish love is putting an expectation on ourselves to do love. And now we're telling everybody else how to do this thing instead of who to be in this thing, who they are in this thing. Yo, man, like how are you able to just live like this and live like that and make these decisions? And dude, I'm God. I'm love. That's it. Just wake up and know you're loved. That's it. When you wake up from your rest as God, I am I am love. And also I am loved. The reason why I'm loved, because I am love. Love comes before being loved. If you don't know that you are loved, then how can you be loved by God? Because you are the God who loves yourself. You, the body that lives inside of the soul, it is love itself. So it's now able to give that identification to the soul it exists in. The soul is the reason why you are experiencing what you are experiencing because it is lacking the mental fortitude of knowing that it is love. The mind is the reason why the soul is able to function, but the body is the identification of the mind and the soul. The body got to remind the mind who it is on a constant basis for the soul to know thyself as God. But if God don't know itself as God, but God is in a state of amnesia or sleep, then 9 times out of 10, you ain't walking this life as God. You walking this thing as a Red Bull that gives people wings and a pitchfork occasionally to the backside with some spicy hot sauce or some fried chicken. That's what we are. The devourer. Just low vibrational thinking. That's it. That's where we're going to remain if we don't know that we're God and we can think higher. So, putting expectations on yourself to do love instead of being loved will be how the body will start to judge itself according to the soul's experience. Because now I only equate myself as being a good person based on the merit and the things that I do for people. I gotta do in order to be or feel like a better person. If I don't do this, I don't feel like I'm God. If I don't do this, I don't feel like I'm God. Well, you're never going to be God if you don't wake up and realize that you are God outside of your doing. Your experience don't make you God. Your identity and knowing who you truly are makes you God. You are God objectively. It's just, are you going to subjectively experience it by knowing? So that is how the body judges itself according to the soul's experience. Let me get to some of these questions really quick. And yeah, we're going to be out of here. Facts. Wisdom is a deeper knowing of oneself through experience and application. I agree with your analogy. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't if I perceived myself not to need anything based on my security and my wealth. Why would I? In regards to going to like if you were born rich, would you have ever like stepped foot into a church? So I get that. But when you are in a state of need due to a lack of awareness of self, then I can see why looking for a savior outside of yourself might be a choice someone chooses, for sure. For sure, for sure. Yes, I know the difference. I'm pruning fruit versus uprooting the source of the fruit. Game changer for sure. Heck yeah. Heck yeah, man. Like, re-identifying that root is how you change the fruit. Re-identifying the root is how you change the fruit. Why is it so easy to forget? The self-sabotage be waiting in the wings. Don't they? Don't they? I'm talking about like waiting, like a ram in the bush. Like I'm sit like, bro, just waiting to cut up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just go on, nah. Get it. Why you here still? I thought come on, nah. Well, remember, you ain't never dealt with me. Huh? You don't know me. You don't know me. So don't act like you know me now. Just get to know yourself because that's who you're sabotaging. Seems to me like the way to transcend is through acceptance and righteous judgment. Yeah, the way we transcend ourselves to our higher self is literally through accepting ourselves through the lens of love. I heard someone say that the avatar is the true soul trap. What do you think? The avatar can definitely, in regard of soul trap, as a nervous system, yeah, it traps you in the nervous system of the senses because we psychologically get programmed into fear so much that we psychologically begin to do things to experience fear through our subconscious experience because all we know is our subconscious experience because those are the seeds that was planted by the two thieves on the cross due to our limited consciousness in the third dimensional thinking. There is a consciousness, there is a kingdom of heaven that exists, or a kingdom that exists within inside of you that supersedes the two thieves on the cross, which is the third dimensional out, I would say beta state of consciousness. And it is called your theta state, where you are one with yourself as God and you create as God, not with God. Remember, your third dimensional state of thinking, which is the thieves on the cross from these two eyes, when you're perceiving yourself just from those eyes, you are therefore, my name is Quentin, you are therefore Quentin having a relationship with God. But when you think from the super consciousness, not the first consciousness, but when you think from the higher heart, the thymus, when you actually think from heaven as God, knowing that you are God, you're not Quentin having a relationship with God, you are God having a relationship with itself through Quentin. That's the difference. The more you resist, the more it persists. Yeah, let's get this over with. Yeah, you know, like that's what this is all about. It's about us shaping our realities but accepting them first. When we accept our realities for what they truly are and who we truly are, then we can step forward more into the grace of ourselves, knowing that we are very powerful creators and we get to create our own realities based on the wisdom and the knowledge that we obtain through our life's experience, living inside a soul as God, the body. So if that's all, next week we'll be wrapping up this 3-part series on the same exact time frame, 9 p.m. ish. So 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be pretty much going live, wrapping up the 3rd part of this series. The echoes of being, why the body, why the soul is in clash of each other, because the body is just like judging itself, yo. So what's going to happen next, yo? So I'll give you guys the next question that we're pretty much going to be talking about. How can the body return to an experience based on the judgment slash meaning it chooses to give life? So now how can this body return back to a state of wholeness and stop judging itself in an unrighteous way, but start now creating and judging and giving meaning to itself in a healthier state? We don't want to just expose, you know what I'm saying, what darkness, what we thought the darkness was. We want to actually now, once the sheet is off the shadow, once the sheet is off the darkness, once the light switch is turned on this dark stage, now we get to express the light of what we truly were seeing when that sheet is off that shadow figure. We get to fully now embrace and accept and also now integrate this new light that has come that we thought was a shadow, but we got close enough to face ourselves and snatched off that sheet with a question mark and saw an answer underneath that was filled as light, bringing us true peace and a piece of ourselves that was missing. So that will be on next week. Hope you guys enjoyed this live. If you have, share the live. Also, we will be doing some pretty cool stuff on next week. So guys, get ready, stay ready, subscribe, turn your post notifications on. And in the meantime, in between time, we love you. Stay calm, folks.